So, Andy, why don't you introduce yourself to those who are watching this interview?
Sure. My name is Andy Crestodina. I am the co-founder of a company called Orbit Media. Orbit's a web design company in Chicago. There's 38 of us, and I write and speak and teach marketing a lot. It's a big part of how we promote ourselves as a business, but I'm mostly known for teaching content strategy, analytics, search optimization, and I wrote a book called Content Chemistry. I'm very active on social media, but you can find me speaking at a lot of conferences like this one here at Content Marketing World.
Very good. Well, since we are at Content Marketing World, what do you think of the conference?
I love this conference. I love the community. I have so many friends here. It gets better every year because you keep meeting old friends and you see people that you know. Plus, there's great learning. There's experts here. There's so many people here that are so good at what they do that every session you're going to walk away with at least something practical, some action you can take. So I love this one. I come to Cleveland every year.
Very good, excellent. So let's talk about analytics. The first time I actually saw you speaking at the Conversion Conference, you had, I think it was the highest rated session, by the way, at the Conversion Conference, talking about analytics. Lots of times, analytics and design sometimes might contradict and cause problems for each other. You've written about that, you've spoken about that. Just give us your insights on that.
Sure. There's lots of ways in which people can design things that do not align with analytics, that do not make analysis easy, that make analysis much harder. So for example, a lot of people will build websites that have a page about all their services, and they put all of their services on one page. That's a terrible idea, because then you'll never get analytics on which of these services is more interesting, more popular, more traffic, because there's just one big URL. So that's an example of how it doesn't work well. All kinds of other examples. People build contact forms with little thank you messages. Terrible idea. You should have a thank you page with a separate URL so you can track. It's got JavaScript. It shows up in analytics. There's lots of little problems, and people who thoughtlessly just make stuff based on what they like don't understand how to connect things to analytics.
You've been in the industry for so long. When did you start, actually? Since early
15 years
15
ago.
years, exactly. How do you see the transformation of the focus on analytics over the last 15, 16 years?
Sure. Analytics has gotten better. In lots of ways, it's gotten easier. The way that we gather data now, it's kind of like Google Analytics sort of won. This is a long time ago. It's like the main tool now. And the reports have gotten slightly easier to use, although there's more of them. So it's a little bit confusing for people who just aren't familiar with it or just want to browse around. And this is a big problem. A lot of people just want to browse in their analytics. They say, oh, I have to do analytics, so I'm going to open it and click on something and look at a report. And what? Like, they don't know what to do. Like, they don't get any insights because they weren't asking a question.
To start with.
If you ask a question to start with, you're going to get some insights out of it because you're going to find an answer. It's fun to swim in the ocean of data, but you don't really go anywhere. I recommend not using analytics for reporting, but using analytics for analysis to make decisions.
Very good. Excellent. Let's talk about content. We're at the Content Marketing World. Attention, fragmented world, tremendous amount of content that's getting produced, and it's extremely difficult to get attention to that content. What's your advice to all these different businesses that are just producing massive amounts of content and they're just not getting any attention?
Sure. Well, I know that it's common and a lot of people complain and it's hard because there's so much stuff published, but I've had success by just ignoring the competition. And when I publish something, I try to make it the best page on the internet I can for that topic. And I go deep on it, and I write 1,500 and 2,000 word long articles that explain everything, that explain the topic from every angle. And I align it with a key phrase. And if I was successful, people who search for that answer find the page. So what if there's, this Google shows that number at the top. It's like, we're showing you, this is one of 200 million pages. No one looks at that number. No one cares how much content there is on the internet. So I'd focus on ranking, focus on indicating relevance, focus on making great pages that answer the question completely. And then on that page, make sure there's an easy way. I don't love pop-ups, but make sure there's an easy way for the visitor to take action and subscribe. Growing your email list is a way to then decouple yourself from Google and Facebook and Twitter and all these places. So I'd focus on search for discovering, and then focus on email for loyalty, bringing your visitors back.
I like the way you divided it. So let's talk about just business in general. 38-man operation. What's the hardest part of growing the company from the start until today?
Well, so we're a web design company, so this question is going to be specific to our industry. But it's a people-intensive job. It takes a lot of specialists, a lot of experts to do this job well. It's a sales-intensive job because we're project-based, so we need to find new projects every day. So there are lots of little challenges that you might not have if you were in an agency with lots of retainers or if you sold a product where people can keep signing up every day. But I love it because I love working with people. I love watching the development and the the careers of my team. Yeah. A big benefit to us is to have professional level managers. I have a CEO. He's a pro CEO. That's all he does. He's a CEO. I wouldn't be here. He manages a company. Yeah. So it's a trick to not put your ego into it and to not be a control freak and to let go and let other people who are great at what they do what they do, and then you can focus on doing the things that you love and you do best.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Let's talk about personal side of things. Your daily routine.
I have a new baby. So the baby is 4 months old.
Okay.
So my wife is amazing, and so she does a lot of the baby stuff. I get up early. I get up at 6:30. If I have time, I might short run, 15 minutes, run a mile and a half, 2 miles, and then cook breakfast for my wife, clean the house, do everything I can to take care of her. So when she wakes up, everything is done for her. I'm giving her that gift back because she let me sleep through the night. I never wake up at night. She takes care of the baby. She does the night shift and I do the morning.
Very good. Excellent. My wife is going to be watching this, so you just added a lot more work, for me. So.
Well, she'll take care of some things, and it's like web design. You're a specialist. Be specialists in your roles.
The funny part is my wife actually runs all of our projects, so she does the company, and I don't know how she does it, but she does it. So
yeah,
very good. Let's talk about social media. So at least I've seen you active on Twitter.
Sure.
Any other platforms that you're active on? Any other platforms that you like?
I am not very active on Facebook because I'm a B2B company, and it's not super. So far for me, it hasn't been critical. It's not super relevant to me in that way. I'm missing out on something, but I'm not too worried about it. I like to use social media for networking, not just content promotion, but for networking. So I'm trying to build relationships with people. I want to keep in touch with people. That's why I want to make sure that you and I connect on LinkedIn. LinkedIn would be my go-to network. I'm very actively growing my LinkedIn presence and making sure that I can keep in touch with everyone that I meet through LinkedIn. I'd invite everyone watching this to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Definitely, and we'll put the link to your LinkedIn profile as well.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. How about Twitter? I see you active there.
Sure.
I remember about 10 years ago when I used to have really meaningful discussions on Twitter, and it seems just there's less and less of that happening nowadays. How do you assess the platform?
Twitter has a problem where the growth of users is not continuing. It's kind of starting to plateau, which means that the investors will look instead for revenue, and they are not that well monetized. So Twitter stock keeps dropping. So I predict that either Google or Facebook will acquire Twitter within the next 12 months.
Oh, 12 months. Okay, very good. Excellent. Last two questions. Your favorite tool, something that you use regularly, day to day?
I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of BuzzSumo. I would choose between Moz, SEMrush, or BuzzSumo. BuzzSumo is so much fun to use. The competitive analysis tools are fantastic. You can plug in any domain and see all the top shared posts on that. It's great for influencer marketing. You can find specific people. It doesn't show you just their Twitter followings and their social followings, but their domain authority, the sites where they rank. They keep expanding it. I'm really impressed with what Steve and his team are doing at BuzzSumo. It's quickly becoming a tool that search optimizers and social media marketers can't live without.
You know, it's amazing that they're only a 7-man operation.
I know.
That is impressive.
It's really impressive. I'm a user. I'm a subscriber, and I use BuzzSumo every day.
Very good. Excellent. Last question. Your favorite book? That's something that you go back and read regularly. Something you recommend to other people?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. There's so many good books out there. I'm an author, and I've had a lot of fun writing and promoting my own book, Content Chemistry. I can't recommend that. I haven't read it myself lately. But I'd recommend anything that you'd find here in the bookstore at Content Marketing World, including the things by Joe, Content Inc. He was very successful at his recent acquisition. But I'm going to recommend a book by Stony DeGuiter, which is so simple, so practical, and most people haven't heard of it. It's called The Best Damn Web Marketing Checklist Ever.
Oh, nice. That sounds really good.
It's good. It's basically lists of everything that should be included on every different asset. So what are the most important things to include on a thank you page, on a home page, on an email auto response, on a footer, on a header. It's got everything about everything, and it's just a checklist. It's a great reference guide. It's not a book that you read and put on the shelf. It's a book that you leave out and refer to again and again.
Very good. A book that keeps on giving.
It does.
How people find you? LinkedIn, Twitter?
LinkedIn and Twitter, of course. My Twitter handle is my last name, at Crestodina, Crestodina, my name. But orbitmedia.com/blog is where I put my best advice. I write an article every 2 weeks. So it's not super frequent. It's just every 2 weks, and I make the best article I can, as you mentioned.
Consistent every 2 weeks.
It's consistent every 2 weeks, and that's where you can also jump on the newsletter if you're interested. Orbitmedia.com/blog.